How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific 3 Eastern, Sundays 3 Pacific 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific 1 Eastern, and it is Monday here on the show, and you know what that means? Well, we got a lot to talk about today. Tonight, Monday Night Raw. We've got 6 segments announced for the show, and it will kick off with Seth Rollins addressing his future as the World Heavyweight Champion. We'll talk about Seth after the break here, as well as Big E and Kenny Omega. Obviously, Big E has been out of action ever since breaking his neck in a SmackDown match, which was March 11 of 2022. But he recently gave everybody an update. And, of course, Kenny Omega has been out of action for quite a while, and he is... He's still got a ways to go, but we do have an update on him, and thankfully it's looking better. Updates on Okada. Where's he going? Well, right now we don't know, but we will know, I'm sure, sooner rather than later. We have also got the AEW rankings, which are, they're coming back. Yes, they are. So, not a fan, but I guess we'll see how it goes. But I didn't like him the first time. And there's a reason I think it's going to be even harder this time. Also got updates on the WWE video game. We've got SmackDown results. We've got Collision results. And today we will be joined by both Filthy Tom Lawlor and Mike Sempervive. 3-man crew again here today. So lot to talk about. If you want to text us, 425-780-7566. That is 425-780-7566. F4WOnline@gmail.com. F4W Online on Threads, Instagram, and Cameo. At Bryan Alvarez on Twitter. Back in a moment. Observer Live.
For you, what were some of the interviews that were your absolute favorite? You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm interviewing this person. Any favorite like moments that you had? Because you got some really fun moments with the talent when you're a backstage interviewer.
Well, dating back, I'm sure you saw it on digital, on social, talking about The Way. Do you remember Austin Theory and
Yes.
Hartwell, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae? The stuff that we would do for social media interviews for YouTube, that was like, it was almost a challenge to see who could make each other laugh first, because we would start the whole thing normal, and I wouldn't even tell Johnny, hey, I'm going to ask you this question. We would just start it, and then he would go off on a tangent. And then I would go back with something that he didn't expect me to say. And we just had this dynamic relationship on camera with all of The Way, which was so fun. And then you look at like Javier Bernal, when I was doing the little back and forth thing with him. And that was a lot of ad lib. I think that a lot of people get the misconception that it's all scripted. I mean, to an extent, you know what you're going to ask, you know what your question is, you know what you need to get out of the interview. But I think how you give a nonverbal or how you respond in a moment whenever maybe somebody says something that you weren't expecting, like how you respond to that is really what grabs the audience's attention, because they feel this authenticity behind it. They feel the genuinity of like, oh, okay, I can feel the emotion behind this interview. So I love doing this stuff with Javier because I think it was my first time that people were like, oh, McKenzie has a personality. McKenzie, like, oh, this is who she is. Got it. Cool. Okay. You do have a little wit behind you. And then Grayson Waller, like the dynamic that we had between our interviews or when we were talking on camera it was natural, because how he would respond is how I would respond. And we just had that natural banter.
What was it like working with Shawn Michaels?
He's awesome. I don't know if you got the opportunity to meet him.
I did, actually. NXT. He's so nice.
Yeah. And he's like, he's intimidating, of course, because he's Shawn Michaels, but he's just a lovable guy. Like, he's just there to listen and to help you and to help the company. And my husband, like, he is Shawn's biggest fan. If you say, who's your 2 biggest wrestling fans? Like, and I always joke with Shawn, I'm like, if somebody said, okay, to Vic, you have to choose your wife or you have to choose Shawn Michaels, I'd be gone. I'd be out. I don't know. I don't hold a candle to you. And then he'd be like, no. So we always had a running joke about that. But Sean's great. It meant so much to see such the kind words that he had to say about me in the press conference. I loved working with him. I am endlessly thankful for him and the experiences I had with him in NXT.
Back on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com, and Filthy Tom Lawlor today. What a crew we've got today. And a lot of news to talk about here. So let's get right into it. First off, Raw tonight. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes go face-to-face. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Chad Gable versus Ivar. Did you see that video of Maxine trying to practice to skin the cat?
No.
Did you guys see this?
No.
Tom, you had to, right?
No.
You didn't see this? So they were doing a fake training session, and they're trying to teach Maxine how to do a skin the cat so she won't get eliminated from the Rumble. And so Chad's like, throw her over the top. And so Otis kind of throws her over the top, and she grabs the rope, and they're trying to coach her through this, but she can't go. And so they're like cheerleading, like, come on, you can do it. Don't give up. Just pull. And somehow she managed to do a skin the cat through the middle rope, which is even harder than doing an actual skin the cat. And they're like, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but man, you didn't give up. And I was like, that was actually really hard. But anyway, they're pretending that she won't be eliminated because she's learning to skin the cat. Yes.
What was Maxine's background before she got to WWE? Because she had to be one of their NIL people, right? So she didn't come from the wrestling world. Like, was she an actual gymnast before she started? What was Maxine?
I don't think she was a gymnast. I do not think so.
Doesn't seem to be coordinated enough.
Perhaps you could look that up as I continue here.
Good.
We have Ivy Nile and Valhalla, Miz versus Dominic Mysterio. And yes, Seth Rollins will kick off Raw and address his future as World Heavyweight Champion. So last week on Raw,
Brian,
yes,
Mike, you would be shocked to know she was a cheerleader.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, they do a little bit of gymnastics and cheerleading sometimes.
And a dancer for the Phoenix Suns. Cheerleader for the Rams, dancer for the Suns.
Wow.
Okay, yes. Okay.
That's quite the
So that kind of cheerleader, which is not an insult, but didn't come from a gymnastics background, more of a modeling background, probably.
Well, last week on Raw, Seth did a lion salt, landed weird on his knee. I think because he was trying not to kill Jinder. I think it was like, there was a, distancing issue or whatever. And, which when you really think about it, did we really need that match with Jinder? No, we did not. And now Seth is injured, and he suffered a torn MCL and a partially torn meniscus. And so they are strongly teasing that he's going to vacate the title. And, of course, people have been thinking maybe he's going to vacate the title. It'll go up to the winner of the Royal Rumble. I don't know, man. What do you think, Tom? Can he wrestle now through WrestleMania on a torn MCL and partially torn meniscus?
I would think best case scenario, Seth Rollins has to be sat until WrestleMania. I don't think you can risk putting him out there in a match if your plan is to have him face CM Punk on the biggest show of the year, the grandest stage of them all in Philadelphia. I don't think you want to risk that. However, if Seth can't go, how lucky are they that last week we had that great Drew McIntyre and CM Punk back and forth? If Seth can't go, what I would do is I'd put that belt on old Drew McIntyre and continue on with whatever plans they had for CM Punk in the world title situation. But I'm not the booker, baby.
You're definitely not the booker. Or the commentator. But who knows?
I did declare for the Royal Rumble.
Did you?
Recently.
I didn't see it on the list on Wikipedia. I think there are forms you have to fill out or something like that to officially declare. I don't think you just say, I declare for the Royal Rumble. That doesn't work. I think there's a...
Either Pierce or Aldis have to sign off on it, I believe.
So anyway, I don't know what Seth Rollins is going to do, but he will make a decision at the beginning of Raw tonight.
Where do you guys come down on all the great conspiracy theorists out there who are congratulating Tony Khan for working WWE into bringing us that match with Jinder and Seth Rollins, and now
he didn't work us into it. It was announced before he even commented on it.
I like how people are adding that to the story, though. I get such a great kick out of that.
Come on.
There have been a lot of logical debates sparked online since the Seth Rollins injury.
Now, we've got two other injuries to talk about. Big E says he still does not have a timetable for his return. He says, it's all together. The bones are connected to other bones, but I want to make a smart decision. I didn't start wrestling to end up in a wheelchair. I want to make sure I'm making the best decision for myself. I don't have a timeline, unfortunately, so thank you for asking. Now, I'll just say this. I absolutely 100% am not saying that he is going to be a mystery entrant in the Royal Rumble, okay? I'm 100% not saying that. But I do believe that he is going to be at the Royal Rumble. I think that's, I don't know if that's like 100% confirmed, but I heard he was going to be there. So, timing, who knows? I would certainly not say it's an impossibility, but I guess we'll find out soon enough because the Royal Rumble is just over a week away. So... see what happens with Big E.
I believe it's just under a week away.
Under a week? It's not this Saturday, is it?
I believe it is.
Is it? Oh, my God, it is. Where did the time go? Golly. Well, the timing is even more interesting then, huh?
How about it?
We'll see. Hey, listen, I don't want the guy to get hurt. If it were me, I'm done.
Yeah.
I made my money. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know what? I am not Big E.
No.
So that will be a decision for him to make. Now, we also have Kenny Omega, and Dave noted on Observer Radio he will be waiting 7 weeks to determine if he needs surgery. He has diverticulitis, and it was very bad to the point where it was too dangerous for surgery. So Dave said it's going to be nothing for 7 weeks. Then in 7 weeks, we're going to see how everything goes. At that point, he'll either need surgery or I don't know. But we will see if he can heal. And it said normally he would have already done the surgery right away, but his condition, everything was so bad, they could not risk the surgery at the time. Now they're just kind of waiting. So we actually had somebody that messaged me, one of our subscribers, who had diverticulitis, and they were like, this is not good because, like, he had major surgery, ended up with a colostomy bag, and noted that later he had another surgery to reattach things so that he didn't need it anymore. But he said, man, he's got a scar like all the way up. So I was told that, one of the things with Kenny's deal was that, they had to pump him full of antibiotics, and apparently the antibiotics are working. So he may still need surgery, but the last report that I got, which was 20 minutes ago, was that things were looking up, and that he was doing a lot better and was hopefully going to make a full recovery. But it's still not 100%. So all the best to Kenny Omega.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe, didn't Davey Boy Smith Jr. have diverticulitis recently as well?
Yep.
And it seems as if he's made a comeback.
Well, I mean, Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brock had like levels to it.
Didn't Brock had like feet of his colon taken out or something like that? I mean, he had a really serious case.
Yeah, part of his intestine, yeah.
And then Overeem fought him and kicked him right in the stomach immediately.
That's not nice.
It's amazing that Overeem
I don't like this UFC.
All that horse meat didn't have play havoc on his intestines and lower colon.
I miss the old days when it was just a violent blood sport.
Like Pride.
It actually was so much better when it was just a violent blood sport.
I agree.
I don't know, man. Okada, we don't know where he's going. He's leaving. That's been announced. He's got a couple of matches left, including one last match with Tanahashi. Remember people who goes, I think Tanahashi coming in as president is why he left. You hear that one?
Yeah, because they're idiots.
Well, I hope they don't shoot in that match.
I'm pretty sure I saw a photo of Tanahashi, Okada, and Shibata eating together.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, no one knows where he's going. I know that's not much of an update. And like a lot of people apparently got mad because we don't know where he's going, but he doesn't know where he's going. So I don't know why you're mad at us for not knowing where he's going. So I could talk about where he might be going after the break, or we could talk about other stuff like rankings. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
When you think of your time, 4 years on NXT, you were able to show people who you were, what kind of interviewer you were, and all of that. But the goal is eventually to get to Raw and SmackDown. Did you ever have any conversations surrounding that?
Well, I think everybody wants to get to Raw and SmackDown, right? Like, I think that's kind of the goal in all of professional wrestling. I don't know if everyone feels that same way, but I think majority of people would want to get to Raw and SmackDown and be on the road and have those WWE moments. I of course wanted that. I of course wanted at some point to get to Raw and SmackDown, but I also felt like NXT kind of became my home, and people really loved me on NXT. From everyone in the company. It just, they just kept saying, like, I remember Indy Hartwell said something to me one time. She's like, when you think about NXT, you're the best fit of an interviewer that I've ever seen for NXT. And I don't know why. I don't know why that is exactly, or if people can put a finger on what that is exactly about me in NXT that made sense, but it just made sense. And then once my husband started doing commentary for NXT, then it was like we were kind of this package deal with NXT too. So I was able to tap into that and really create my own story within NXT in my own home, which I loved. But it's hard to say that I wouldn't have ever wanted to go to Raw and SmackDown.
I think part of the reason why you fit in with NXT was, well, your interview style, but also the fact that because you had been there, you knew everybody. And so it didn't feel like, oh, just new girl coming in and let's just rehearse these lines. Instead, It felt because you were there, you knew the people already, you knew their stories, you knew what was happening. And I think that familiarity is what really helped you, shine on NXT.
And it was unique that I got to learn and work with new talent. You think about from the Black and Gold to NXT 2.0, that was really, I don't know if many people can say that they went from Black and Gold into the NXT 2.0 into where we are now. And it was fun getting to work with new talent and new superstars such as Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams and Roxanne Perez even, and them on the rise, because I was able to work with the likes of Johnny and Candice and Tommaso and Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, Undisputed Era, and then Raquel, and then you go to a whole new era of what was 2.0, to where it was an adjustment, but it was also really cool and fun. You have to evolve. And so I was able to evolve with all these talent. And now I get to see them go off and succeed and see what Carmelo's doing on SmackDown right now and Dragon Lee and like all these. It's really exciting because I was able to connect with all of these talent throughout their journey and be a crucial part of their journey, I felt.
The show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. So one other thing about Okada, actually. So Okada, New Japan and AEW obviously have a relationship. And New Japan let Will Ospreay negotiate a new contract while he was under contract with New Japan. So I think that Okada has had talks with AEW. But, WWE, especially of late, for various reasons, they're not talking to anybody until their contract expires. And so I don't think they've even made an offer to Okada yet. And, Okada had his eyes opened when he went to AEW for some of these shows. And he kind of found out how much money people were making in America. And, he's well paid as a New Japan Pro Wrestler. He's paid great, but he ain't getting paid nothing like what the top American stars are making. And, I mean, the exact wording that I was given was, he is the most underpaid legend there may have ever been. So that was, he found out about that. And so, obviously, I think that he was probably, I don't know if made officially a great offer, but, he could go to AEW, and there are definitely people there that think he's going to AEW, and he's going to make a lot of money, and everything's going to be great. But don't think that WWE does not have a lot of money. And while there are a lot of people that don't like WWE, there are a lot of people that really want to wrestle WrestleMania. And if Okada's one of them, and they're going to offer him 7 figures, he may go to WWE. So it is not a foregone conclusion that he is going to AEW. But I think it is a foregone conclusion he is either going to AEW or WWE. So I would not expect to see him, in TNA or NWA on the CW.
Noah?
Probably not Noah, my guess would be.
Look, Stardom?
He's going to make money. No matter where he goes, he's going to make money. So in some ways,
yeah, he is.
It's going to come down to the intangibles, as far as what's going to be a better fit for him. What is he really looking to do? Is WrestleMania something that he's always wanted to do and check off on his bucket list? Is that balanced by, or, does he feel as though he still wants to be able to go over to Japan, which is an option that AEW could possibly give you? So there's lots of things like that are going to play into his decision-making, and we can't be naive enough to not think that he's got some idea on what WWE would offer him and what WWE probably knows kind of what he may be interested in even at this point, because Barry Bloom is his agent, and there's a familiarity. So I'm sure nothing official is going on, obviously, because of some of the issues WWE has had and the fact that it is just straight up contract tampering at that point if he was not allowed to negotiate. But the reality is, when you have an agent like that who is so familiar and it does talk to a lot of people and just happen to show up at places and, make phone calls and conversations and such, I'm sure they have some sort of idea about each other right now.
Hey, I got a question for everybody. Raise your hand if you like rankings. Tom, you like the rankings in AEW?
You didn't say that. You just asked if I like rankings.
Yeah, you like rankings because you were in the top 15 once, middleweight.
That's right. No, it was light heavyweight.
Light heavyweight. Sorry. What did I say?
Big boy.
I guess so, man.
It's bantamweight.
God, do you know what Vinny said about you, or was it Craig? Somebody the
about
other
me?
Yeah. Somebody on the show the other day was watching one of your matches, and they go, "Man, I don't know. I'm kind of worried about Tom. He looks really skinny."
That was Tanahashi.
I think it was Craig.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait a second, Brian.
I'm pretty sure.
Didn't you say something about a chicken chest and comparing him to Zack Sabre Jr., saying Zack Sabre Jr. is more swole than Tom now?
Yeah, you know who told me that? Tom, after he wrestled Zack. So why don't you yell at him and not me?
Zack now has a chick apostrophe in chest. It's like one of those fake chicken meat deals. Get it?
That was a bad one, brother. Golly. Anyway, AEW rankings are making a comeback.
That was pretty good.
Tony announced on X the rankings are coming back going forward. AEW is having a very exciting January. This is the beginning of an amazing 2024. And Tony Schiavone then announced the return of the rankings during the main event of Collision. So, as I talked about yesterday in the Bryan and Vinny show, I was told that the person that was responsible for there no longer being rankings, the person who convinced Tony to get rid of them, was CM Punk.
Thank you, Punk.
Yes. Finally. Punk and I are like this again. But now Punk's gone, so I guess the rankings are coming back.
Half of that, surely.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing with these rankings. So why are rankings coming back? Is it because people are critical of who's getting championship matches? There is a much simpler solution to this problem than rankings. And that is, don't give too many championship matches. And if you do give a championship match to someone, just make sure they've won some matches on TV recently. I don't think it needs to be any more complicated than that. I mean, listen, people were complaining contrary to Tony's tweet, people were complaining, why, I almost said a bad word, why in the world is Jinder Mahal getting a championship match? He hasn't won a match on the main roster in 18 months. That's a great question, okay? But, they do championship matches quite often, and they don't have rankings. What they do is if somebody's going to be in a championship match, they just win a bunch of matches, and then nobody complains about it. Yes, Tom?
What was Logan Paul's ranking?
Logan Paul, beat a whole bunch of guys, actually.
How many?
I don't know.
More than somebody who's there every week on TV?
Well, no, obviously.
More than somebody who's in the main event picture.
Please tell me,
there's always going to be an exception. I'm saying in general.
It's a lazy
gimmick.
Back in the day when the UWF and places like that did this, is because you wanted it rooted in sport, and it's something boxing does. It's something that college football does. So rankings, okay, makes sense. You get a title shot because you're in the top 10. At this point in the game, it seems to be kind of lazy, and the fact that they didn't follow up on it the first time, if you really want to dedicate yourself to this, your top 10 is just your upper mid-card for the most part, and your mid-card, maybe two people at the bottom of that. The stories are what matter. You can put anybody in a title match if you build up to it and the story is good enough. To me, this is kind of, I don't know. The fact that it didn't go well the first time at all, does not give me any hope for this. And I think it comes across as being kind of lazy as to giving people a reason to have title shots as opposed to actually dedicating yourself to stories for multiple people in multiple groups that are going on consistently at the same time. That's the way it should be.
Okay, listen. Yeti Pot Pie says, remember when Abaddon randomly showed up for a couple matches during title shots, just to job out to Tony and Julia for a couple weeks, and now where is she? No thanks. Give me rankings and get someone on a hot run to build up a title shot. Dude, you don't need rankings to do what you're asking. What you need is for Abaddon to win a half dozen matches on television before getting a title shot. You don't need rankings for that. Do you know how the rankings used to work? Because I used to hear about it all the time. I'll tell you how they used to work.
All right.
Tony would decide that somebody needed a championship match, okay? Once that was decided, then it was we need to get you on Dark and Elevation to win a bunch of matches, to pad up the record, okay? So, where's Dark and Elevation today? They're not even there anymore. So you can't even do it the way you used to do it. If he decides tomorrow that he wants whoever, pick a name,
Griff Garrison,
Abaddon, to get a championship match again, okay? He can't send Abaddon to Dark and Elevation to win 9 straight matches to pad a record. They don't exist. So what is he going to have to do? Well, she'll have to win matches on Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage. Well, you know what? You can have her do that without rankings. You just have her win matches on the shows and then give her a championship match. The rankings will only make things harder.
Jesus,
right?
So stupid.
Whoever said that's also missing the fact that Abaddon was around because it's been spooky season.
Yeah,
that spooky season was months ago.
Yeah, well, she's stuck around since then.
This is so dumb. You debut somebody, they win a bunch of matches in a row, then you put them in there with somebody that's a little higher up than them, and then they beat that person and move up. This shouldn't be that difficult, but it is consistently made difficult. And people constantly want to bring things back that don't work because they swear they have the answer to them. We're going to have a Prince of Darkness match next because we haven't had enough bad matches with 2 people with hoods over their head wrestling. Sometimes some things should be left, never to come back again. Punjabi prison matches, another one.
Me and Tom would be good with another Punjabi prison match.
I know you guys
I'd retire in that one.
Sad.
How about a good skins match?
Skins match.
Oh, God.
Tank Abbott versus Big Al,
God.
baby.
No hard tens.
Guys, remember that skins match when Big Al pulled a knife? Legit? They didn't know about it? Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Was it Tank?
Tank pulled the knife. Yeah.
That's right. He's trying to shave his beard. That's right.
That's
terrible.
He said he was going to, I believe he said he was going to slit his throat.
He was a maniac.
There you go, TK. This is what you're bringing back. The skins The skins of rankings, or the rankings or the skins. Sad.
I have a question about these rankings. How much do they take into account? Obviously, they take the win-loss factor into account, but what about like strength of schedule? Is there a tribunal?
Exactly.
Is there a tribunal of 5 men in cloaks who decide on this
5
sort
men
of
in
thing?
cloaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like the UFC rankings.
I was going to say it was like the devil mask guys, but they're revealed now. So I don't know. Hey, you know what? I want to talk about one last thing before we go to Tom's SmackDown report after the break. Remember when they were going to do that reality show with Bianca and Montez, and they were going to call it the Crawfords? And I said, that's the worst name possible, and people were like arguing. Well, they changed the name. It is now Love and WWE Bianca and Montez. 5,000 times better. Now people will know what the show's about, and they might watch it. Back with more Observer Live.
Getting to I want to go ahead and shift into Continental Classic, because you just mentioned it. A really, really great tournament that AEW has put together with top-notch competitors. I mean, you got to go in there with Andrade, with Bryan Danielson. Loved seeing you guys go to the time limit draw. That was awesome. Daniel Garcia, a young guy in this who's been killing it. Eddie Kingston, Brody King. All of these people that you got to mix it in with. What was your impression when you first heard of the Continental Classic, that this was going to be happening? And how did you feel getting to take part in the first one and in the tournament of this caliber?
I was very excited, right before I joined AEW, I was extremely close, like probably a couple of days away before doing the G1 for New Japan. And I always want to do the G1, and I still owe him one, I feel like. So to do the Continental Classic, I was super excited. And it also, to me, I feel like I'm at my best when I get into a routine, so to speak. And with the Continental Classic, it's like, you wrestle every week. And like, then again, like looking back, I was like, I pretty much wrestled every week multiple times. But to me, it's always like, okay, cool. And then I looked at both groups and like all the talent announced, which is awesome, because I was like, yeah, there's not one person that I wouldn't want to be in the ring with. And then I saw the brackets or whatever, and the blue group, and I'm like, this is like, every single competitor is like top level. Every single competitor, it's going to be fun and a big challenge, and every match is going to be different, right? So the gold group was fun to watch as well, but I feel like the blue group just had like so many different styles and competitors in it, and it was so much fun, not just for me. I feel like my fellow competitors as well, and for the viewers, because you kind of knew what matches you were getting. I mean, like, you knew what the matches were, like, right when you look at it, you're like, oh my god, I'm going to get all those matches, but you didn't really know quite when. So it's like it's still that like cool, and then it gets announced and it's cool and you can look forward to it. And then of course it all came down to the last day, which was a lot of fun, I feel like, for everybody watching, and it's not quite over yet. So it's it's been a very good thing for AEW and the fans, and I just brought it down to me what wrestling is, because it's fun, it's sports, it's storytelling, and you've seen all the guys do like the interviews and the promos and then like the matches, and it's just everybody put their heart and soul into it, and you can tell.
In the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live, Mike Sempervive, and filthy Tom Lawlor here. Tom, it wouldn't be Monday without your SmackDown report, so without swearing, let's do it.
Honestly, it still would be Monday. I don't think my
That's
SmackDown
true.
report has much bearing.
We haven't done it for several Mondays anyway. Yes.
Well, we have SmackDown Live on Fox from this past Friday evening from Atlanta, Georgia. And the show opened up, as is customary most weeks, with a recap of last week. This one highlighted the 3-on-2 handicap match with the Bloodline taking on AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns walks into the arena. He is upset, says after last week, nothing has been fixed. And then Solo Sikoa lets us all know he's going to fix it tonight. In the ring, Nick Aldis was there to welcome the sold-out crowd to a contract signing for the upcoming Royal Rumble 4-way title match. All three baby faces who I mentioned before, LA Knight, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, enter, put pen to paper individually.
Took 10 minutes to do all of these ring entrances. This was an easy show to get through.
I'm not complaining, brother.
No.
Paul Heyman came out. He said, look, Roman Reigns, he's not signing that contract. Nick Aldis, much to his credit, says, hey, that's fine. He's got a backup plan. That match, it's just going to be a 3-way for the vacant title at the Royal Rumble. Of course, Paul Heyman's not going to let this go down without a fight. He approaches the ringside apron. LA Knight cuts him off. AJ and LA Knight then get into a heated argument. AJ punches LA Knight. The two brawl to the back amongst the officials. And then Randy Orton pulls Paul in by his tie. And he tells him he's going to put down Solo Sikoa tonight and then reintroduce Roman Reigns to the most dangerous 3 letters in the WWE, RKO.
Hey, Tom, when you were the New Japan Strong Openweight champion, did you ever carry that giant metal belt through the metal detector at the airport?
I had one of my minions do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't help but notice when Roman Reigns and Paul showed up, they sauntered right on through that thing and they didn't set it off with that big giant metal belt. So, interesting.
We came back from commercial. AJ Styles asked Nick Aldis to face LA Knight tonight, and that match was made official. Then the LWO, Carlito, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde took on Legado del Fantasma. And it's SmackDown, so of course we got a great set of dives by the babyface team that sent us to commercial. And when we came back, they were getting beat up. Legado had isolated Joaquin Wilde.
Hey, at least we got the hot tag during the actual body of the show and not the commercial break. That's an improvement.
After some double teaming at the hands of Legado, Wilde hit a big tornado DDT. He made that hot tag to Carlito, who landed some strikes, a drop kick, big spine buster for 2. Things broke down quickly. Big move after big move, and then Carlito hit a tree slam of all things, a throwback to Big Vinny V. And then Escobar,
sure, that's what it was.
Escobar blind tagged in. Carlito hit a backstabber on Umberto and then snuck behind Carlito to roll him up to get the pretty cool win.
This Carlito is definitely slower than he used to be. I mean, man, it's noticeable.
He's twice as old as he was when he began, Brian.
I guess so. It was a long time he was gone.
Lashley, the Street Profits, they had a promo. They told Cross and the Authors of Pain that they're going to show them true intimidation soon. We then had Pretty Deadly take on the team of Tyler Bate and what was set to be Butch. Kit Wilson and Elton Prince are backstage before the match. They let Kayla know that they're ready, and they're not going to be surprised tonight by somebody who's not even on the roster like they were last week. Then we got the return.
Well, they made sure to point out, we're not just pretty boys. We're pretty smart boys. And we have never been more prepared to face Tyler Bate and Butch. But it was not Butch.
Of course, it was the return of the bruiserweight Pete Dunne.
Who got a big pop. It's funny. It's like the exact same guy, exact same gear, works the exact same way, but they put Pete Dunne on the screen, and he got a big pop like it was a debut of a new superstar.
Well, he's no longer dressed like a 1920 newsboy.
Well, they got rid of that a while ago, but now he's back to Pete Dunne.
Tyler Bate did an airplane spin. He got beat up with some double teams by Pretty Deadly. He hit an exploder, tagged in Pete Dunne. Dunne hit a buzzsaw kick to the back of the head, gave Pretty Deadly a suplex onto the other one. Bate dove over the top onto one of the Pretty Deadly gentlemen. And then
he hit Kit.
Dunne hit the bitter end
on Elton
Prince and defeated Pretty Deadly. Once again, After the match, Pretty Deadly were backstage with Kayla complaining about this new person, Pete Dunne, who showed up tonight.
Who is this guy?
And then we had a special edition of the KO show, which kind of reminded me of most of them. This one featured Kevin Owens and Logan Paul as his guest. KO put over Logan Paul for not being like all the other celebrities who come in. Instead, Logan Paul stuck around, and now look at him. He's the U.S. champion. But KO says that doesn't make him like one of them. It doesn't make him like a Rey Mysterio. It doesn't make him a real wrestler. Logan says, look, that's fine because I'm one of one. You know, I don't want to be like you guys. KO talks about Logan being protected, afforded all these opportunities to be successful. Logan says KO is the one being protected. KO says he's not going to have his cast on at the Rumble. And the Maverick uses this chance to punch KO in the face. Owens then works his way up to his feet, double legs Logan, who flees to the outside and is able to slam KO's broken right hand into the post ahead of their title match.
This was a long talking segment, but there were some good points. There was Logan saying, you know, the reason I'm even a wrestler is because of you. And Kevin goes, what are you talking about? And so there's a clip of Kevin giving him a stunner 3 years ago at WrestleMania. And Logan says, you embarrassed me in front of 70,000 people. You hit me with a stunner. All these people cheered. I knew I had to prove to you and everyone that I belonged here. And Kevin goes, I don't even remember that happened. And then later, Logan's doing this promo. And, you know, when Kevin talks about how you're not a Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Logan says, I'm 101. He goes, I'm your son's favorite superstar. I'm an innovator, actor, boxer. The list goes on and on. Billionaire, he says, on paper. So he's not actually a billionaire. He made sure to add on paper. And then we had the big brawl there at the end. And this Logan is this guy is a great heel, I got to say. He is an unlikable fella.
Big surprise.
Yeah. Him and Kevin Owens actually should be great. That's what's going to be.
Yes.
Roman was in the locker room berating Jimmy, yeet or no yeet. Solo steps up, says, look, last week was on him, and this week he's going to step up and fix it. We then had the People's main event. Caden Carter and Katana Chance.
You might want to back away from the mic, Mike.
Defending
we should back away from the mic.
Tag titles against the Unholy Union, as they have now been named.
You want to talk about frickin' rankings? How in God's name did Isla Dawn and Alba Fire get a championship match? I haven't seen him do anything except come out of a box.
I have also not seen any logical online debate sparked because of this title shot.
No, it was only 3 minutes.
Damage Control ringside with Bayley on commentary. Dawn and Fire attacked at the bell. The champs did some moves. Fire and Dawn almost stole it after Dawn landed a blind strike from the floor. Caden Carter hit a rebound destroyer off the ropes. And then Mike Sempervive, I want you to tell the truth here. Was this not the best keg stand that the champions have hit of all time?
Not saying much, but okay, maybe.
You're the worst unbiased reporter I've ever seen. It went perfect.
It's fine.
Perfect.
It was fine.
For the first time.
Wow, they hit their move for the first time correctly.
It was not the first
champions
time.
These people are.
Come on.
Oh my
and they botched it one time because the other person was too far away.
You know what's going to be the biggest insult about all of this? And I'm going to check WrestleNomics right now. This is going to be the highest rated quarter of the entire show, isn't it?
It probably is.
This for some reason.
I'll bring it up tomorrow.
Oh my God.
I tuned in to see the Kabuki Warriors dance with the belts afterwards.
Yeah, what the heck was that? I'll tell you who does not look like she likes to dance is Kairi Sane.
The club was then backstage. They let AJ Styles know they still got his back tonight if he needs it, which was interesting. We had a Final Testament video package. Apparently, Brian and Mike, it still is spooky season because we got the Unholy Union, the Final Testament. What's next?
I don't know. I still can't believe they got Carl to come out for a show. Been a while for him. When's the last time he was on TV?
Cross said they're uncivilized disruptors who make people nervous. He said next week there's a new game they're going to play, and they're going to see Lashley and the Prophets face-to-face to settle who's the almighty. Carmelo Hayes was...
As an old man, I like the fact that Paul Ellering is there. I have no idea why he is there, since Karrion Kross seems to be doing his role as well. But the fact that Kevin Sullivan has popped up in these videos and that Paul Ellering has been brought back with these guys, I got to give it to him with that.
The Final Testament has a mouthpiece leader with Karrion Kross. They have a manager who says nothing with Paul Ellering. And they have a valet who also does not speak with Scarlett. And then, have AOP ever said a word?
I think they've said a couple of promos. Yeah.
Carmelo Hayes was backstage with Kathy Kelly after last week's match with Austin Theory went awry. Theory and Waller approached. Carmelo called out Theory for this Friday in Miami. Theory said he's got a lot going on next week. But Waller was like, no, you don't. Yeah, actually, you'll face Carmelo Hayes. AJ Styles took on LA Knight. It went back and forth. Knight had things in control. He was bouncing AJ's head off the announce desk, but Jimmy came down the aisleway. This gives AJ time to land an enziguri tonight, but Solo appears. This was a distraction by Jimmy. Solo appears with his hand around Knight's neck, hits the Samoan spike, attacks AJ, beats him down. The club, nowhere to be seen. And Randy Orton is called out by Solo Sikoa. We go to commercial. We come back, and we have the main event. Solo still in the ring. He and Randy fight right away. Orton has things locked up in control. He hits the draping DDT, sets up for the RKO. But once again, here comes Jimmy Uso. Yeet or no yeet down the aisle. I believe there's no yeet on this run-in. LA Knight comes running out. He stops Jimmy. Jimmy tries to retreat after a few blows, but AJ Styles comes out. He beats up Jimmy. In the ring, Solo tried to sneak up with the spike on Randy Orton, but Orton pinned him with the RKO. Pretty pedestrian. And then Styles Knight got in the ring. There was some back and forth. Roman Reigns showed up. He Superman punched Randy Orton, set up for the spear, but as he was about to hit it, the RKO hit, and Randy Orton stood tall.
And it took us to commercial. Wrestling Observer Live.
Well, I was super excited. Like, when I joined AEW and it was the Blackpool Combat Club, I was like, oh yeah, it just, like, people ask me, how do you feel? I'm like, I feel like it's just right. Like, it just, yeah. I get up another day and it's like I've always been part of it, And with Bryan, again, like, I've known him for almost 20 plus years now, all over the world. Like you said, we've been in the ring all over the world, and like just hung out and traveled together for so long. That it's been so much fun, just being around him a lot. And, I always mention the BCC group chat because it seems to get people jealous that they're not in it. There's also a BCC book club, I think, that just got founded. So, yeah.
Wait, did that just start?
I mean, we just started our first book that we're all reading together. So yeah, I think that's going to be a thing as well.
Because I know Bryan said that he reads 3 books at the same time. So is he making you guys do this, or was this like a joint thing?
No, so I feel like so Bryan has been reading for a long time, and he reads a lot of books. I think he reads like at least one a week or something like that, which is incredible. I just started reading a lot more this year, and I know Marx reads quite a bit as well. So we were just kind of like, oh, what if we just kind of do a book club thing? We just all read like the same book and then talk about it. And we were like, sure, yeah, why not? So we're forcing Yuta to read as well. No, I mean, like, Yuta was always reading, but we're just now doing this kind of thing. So it that just kind of sums it up how much fun it's been with Bryan. And then to your second part of the question. If this is his last year full-time wrestling, I'm extremely happy to have had that match with him. because we were kind of talking. It was like the last couple of matches we had were in front of nobody or screens in the Thunderdome era, and then before that it was like tag matches and this and that. But like singles wise, I think it was like a gauntlet match years ago, like 2014 or 15 or something like that, when I was still with Zeb and Swagger. And then obviously, you know, before that, Ring of Honor. So it's been actually been quite a while. And I mean, I was extremely happy that I was able to wrestle him for that long in front of an audience on TV, and just go in there and have fun. And, you know, like if he can do it again, like I would obviously love to. But if not, I feel like, you know, if Bryan's kind of going, you know, if this is his last year, he's just going down the list of fun stuff that he wants to do. And I was glad to have been part of it. Not so glad about that draw since he cost me the tournament, but, you know, you win some, you lose some.
To say that takes a lot for me to care about a 4-way match for the title, and I will say that a 3-minute AJ LA Knight match with a bad finish, and then a 4-minute Orton solo match with a distraction finish, well, that didn't do it for me. Don't care at all about this match right now. But hey, at least we have the Royal Rumble coming up, and it's a Saturday, so we're gonna have a lot of coverage of it, including Bryan and Vinny's show. It'll be streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. So if you are not a Twitch subscriber, do it now. Especially, you know, if WWE goes to Amazon Prime, then your Amazon Prime account is going to get you free Twitch for our channel. F4W Video on Twitch. You can just use your Amazon Prime account and sign up absolutely free. And you can watch Observer Live with the good chat every day. And you can also watch the pay-per-view recaps, which are always available for our Twitch homies. So use your Amazon Prime account, sign up today, and you can watch it this coming weekend. I believe my buddy Mark will be there for that show. Royal Rumble's his favorite show of the year.
A lot of people's favorite show of the year.
Is it yours, Tom?
WWE
We only have 2 minutes for this final segment here. What's your favorite show of the year?
For the
one that pays them
WWE?
the most.
It's
Anything.
the Rumble.
Rumble? Okay. All right.
I like a little surprise in my life, you know?
I hope we get some surprises.
Mania weekend's still the best, but look, like I said, I got high hopes for this Rumble because of the surprises that could show up there. It should be fun.
Luther Reigns.
No, get out of here.
You
Hey,
stop
we're
it.
out of time. Thanks, Mike, as always. Filthy Tom, callers and listeners ever at the studio. We'll talk to you next time, Wrestling Observer Live.